But I wanted to ask around, you said you came to South Africa and at that time UX wasn't really a thing or there wasn't a lot of awareness around UX here. How does one go about building a community? What were some of the things you did or still do to try and build that community of people and UX and people being more aware of this?
Well, it wasn't rocket science, to be frank. What had been going on in London just before I came over is that the UX community there had started to kind of crystallize a bit. And there were some community activities that were starting to take place. And it was pretty obvious to me that when you get UX designers together, or people who are interested in UX
Mm.
design together with beer, they have a really fun time. So, and that was in London, right? And then, so I thought, oh, well, I'll probably do that, right? So I think I can't actually remember who the first UX designer I met was or how I met them,
Mm.
but somehow I did. And then um, I said, why don't we get together with beer? And what was fascinating is that relative to Londoners, South Africans are so sociable, right? So people say that,
Mm.
people from Joburg say that Cape Townians are standoffish, but people from Cape Town say Londoners are standoffish, right? And so I got a few people together with beer, and I was blown away, right? I arrived and they were all already there chatting away, having the time of their lives. And I was like, wow, that's not quite the same as London, right? In London, they'd all have been sitting in different corners of the pub, staring at their warm beer and not saying anything. Here, they were just going for it. And so it was really easy, right? They just chatted away and whatever. And then I'm like, okay, well, this is cool. Next time round, I'll do a presentation about UX, and then other people can do other presentations. And so
Mm.
off we went doing that. And people told their friends and brought their friends along. And really, the only thing I had to do was find a venue and organize a speaker every month. And then it looked after itself pretty well. There was a Facebook group which I'm just not into social media, so I really didn't do very much with it. But lots of people wanted to join it. It was kind of almost just a count. The only useful thing about it was how many members did it have, right? And we were counting up. It was like 200, 300, 500, etc. So that was nice to see. And then I had a blog, and I blogged from time to time. And then there was such a vacuum that that was really all it took, and people were off and chatting, and there it was. I think it was pretty much Cape Town focused. I don't think that we really had much influence on the Joburg scene at all.
Mm.
Okay.
But yeah, that's all I did.
That's
Interesting.
really cool.
And what's
When
sad
we
now
chatted
of
to,
what's sad now, of course, is that in this time of COVID, all of those wonderful meetups, which are so much fun, and perhaps even more fun in Cape Town because the weather's better or something, can't happen or haven't been happening, right?
yeah.
And there's communities all across, well, at least the tech space, which is what I know, right? Which have just kind of lost a bit of their va-va-voom because people can't get together so
Yeah.
easily or haven't been getting together so easily. I know, in the software development space, it's true, and in the product management space, it's true. And I think hopefully we're coming to the end of this nonsense, and we might start to see these communities kind of get reborn and people start to interact face to
Mm.
face again, where you get this wonderful energy and people do come away kind of energized,
Mm.
partly because of the beer and partly because of the meeting people that share their love of the topic. But getting that lot sort of back off the ground, not my job. I'm not going to do it again for sure. But the people who are doing it, enticing people out of their lockdown studies and so on
Yeah.
is just a little bit harder than you'd expect, actually.
Yeah. We've definitely noticed that with just getting people on the podcast. People are struggling to commit as much to sharing and being in a vulnerable space or just a more social space. But what you were saying about the UX community, it's actually so amazing. We chatted to Makara, who's a service designer, and she came from an architecture space, and during COVID changed careers to move into UX and service design. And one of the big things she mentioned to us was about how open and just inviting the UX community in South Africa has been since she's joined. And it seems like it's quite a special thing because you mentioned even back then, it almost it just flowed. It was natural. People were just very happy to engage with each other and learn from each other about this topic that is UX.
Yeah, I think that's true. And if you think about it, actually, you just made me realize a good UX designer should be able to give a really entertaining talk, and edifying too, right? Because, well, that's kind of what UX design is about, if you take it most broadly, right? And so, and then in addition, I think UX designers are disproportionately passionate about their topic. I mean, the level of passion
Absolutely.
in UX designers is just off the charts. It seems to be their part of their mentality, right? When they like a thing, they really like a thing, or they're really, really into it.
Into it,
And
yeah.
so I suppose maybe those are the ingredients that fuel it, right? Which is you've got a bunch of people who can actually, hopefully, be interesting and educational when they speak, and a bunch of people who are absolutely passionate about the topic. So that goes quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is nothing more embarrassing than seeing a bad UX talk, because it's like, well, you really should know better, guys. But they're quite rare.